All right, we're back here on 97.3 ESPN South Jersey. I want to remind people Joe Namath's new book is out and on sale now. All the Way, My Life in Four Quarters, a story of football fame and redemption. Don't forget to pick up a copy. Great Mother's Day gift. Barnes & Noble, or go online. Joe Namath. We had him on the show not too long ago in August. It was a great interview. But now let's go to another Philly great. He was a part of that 1980 World Series championship team. Let's introduce and go to the sports hotline and welcome into the locker room, Greg Luzinski. What's up, Greg?
Pretty good. How you doing?
All right, Greg. It's been a sad week for Philly Nation, and I know you were very fond of Dave Montgomery. I had an opportunity, and this is when I worked back in the day when I worked at the airlines. I had two brushes with sports royalty. I sat next to Al Davis on a plane one time, and I sat next to Dave Montgomery, and I can't tell you the difference between the two, night and day. Dave Montgomery was the nicest guy. I asked him a question. I'm nobody. He didn't have to talk to me. Was so nice and so gracious, and answered like I just asked him a couple questions. He was like, he was really nice to talk to. Of course, on the other side of that equation, Al Davis, who you? I don't know who you are. So that's just the kind of guy Dave Montgomery was.
Yeah, without question, he's a great guy. You might call him Mr. Baseball because that's what his whole life evolved around. He was with Phillies in 1971, and the amazing part is he kept score of every game played, whether it was home or away, and he kept in his garage. He's got all the scorecards and obviously newspapers from every game. So he was just a collector of baseball and very knowledgeable. I think one of the big things he did, though, besides the new stadium being built, he had a lot to do with that in the city of Philadelphia. That he got the players involved in charitable organizations throughout the Delaware Valley, to where not only were they on the baseball field, but they were seen at a lot of charitable events and had their own charities, and so you got a mix of players with the fans. So it was a big credit to David. Obviously, there's been a lot of accolades thrown his way, and well-deserved, and I think on June 6th there'll be a memorial service, a celebration of life at the ballpark at 3 o'clock for Mr. Montgomery.
Yeah, I wanted to get you on, Greg, because you've been around since 1970. You've known Dave for a long time. I was amazed. You always can judge a man's character by you see the emotion from Larry Boa, Mickey Morandini. I mean, see everybody that's been talked about, everybody that's been interviewed about Dave Montgomery. It's very, very emotional for him to talk about him. That's a testament to the kind of man that he was, man.
Without question. I mean, he made himself visible. He was a guy that I was always around that, like I said, made himself visible. And a lot of us, we grew up together in the organization from, 71 when he first came in with Bill Giles till, obviously, his passing last week. So, there's a lot of stories, there's a lot of memories, and there's a lot of communication between Montgomery and the players, and obviously, the city of Philadelphia. And he was a sports guy. I mean, he came from Penn Charter,
yeah,
obviously in high school, then went to Pennsylvania. He was a big Palestro guy. He loved the Palestra in Philadelphia, and worked at Veterans Stadium with Giles, and then they both went to put Citizens Bank Park together, and he had a lot to say with that. I know he was also well respected in MLB circle as far as being part owner of the Phillies and the commissioner's office, and had lent a lot of a good word to MLB and some suggestions, which eventually I think MLB took some.
We're talking with Greg Luzinski, Philly great, 1980 World Series champion. Greg, the camaraderie, chemistry, I mean, you saw Bo get emotional talking about he was even like a father figure. And Bo was a year older than a year older than Dave. I mean, that whole I guess he personified that closeness. Did that permeate into the locker room for you for the players?
Well, I think as far as the organization goes, like I said, he was there, and he made everybody feel at home. Whether you were a homegrown Philadelphia Philly or you were brought in through free agency or trade. So, he knew that there were going to be some rough times, which the Phillies did have, but that eventually, it'll come around to put something together, and they did a tremendous job. They brought in Utley and Rollins and Howard, people of that nature through the system. Went outside, Jim Thome was a great acquisition. And when you see people like that, the free agents that came to Philadelphia, like a Thome, and see his reaction and read about his quotes, about Dave Montgomery, that he's a quality human being, and just sorry to see him go.
Yeah, it's a sad time. Bull, let's talk a little bit about the current Phillies. This team is fun to watch. I was just saying prior to you coming on, they're a little inconsistent. Are you worried about their offense or the lack of consistency, or is that something that baseball teams go through, especially in the beginning of the season?
Well, some teams go through that, but yesterday was like, playing against Kansas City was like a deadbeat game.
Yeah.
There didn't look like there was much energy on that field. And, I think that's happened a few times this year, and don't ask me why, but it has. I know that the success of our ball club so far from the offensive standpoint has come from the fact that we can hit the ball out of the ballpark. It seems like when you go back and look at a lot of the victories we've had, we've hit home runs in those games to not only put those crooked numbers on the board. Right. So, it is a team that can score fast and come back from deficits. But, they have hit some flat games, and I think yesterday definitely was one of them. They've seen that Bailey before, the pitcher, so they should have had an idea of what he has and, how he uses it. But the inconsistency so far, it has shown, but hopefully it'll get more consistent. I think the center fielder needs to shake it a little bit.
We were just talking about it. I mean, did you see that one play, Greg, last night, the one at bat he had? The ball was in the catcher's glove, and then he swung his bat. I've never seen anything like that in my life.
Yeah, he's had some real bad at bats in crucial situations where he needs to put the ball in play. And I know he was hurt; he's coming back from injury. But I think for Odubel, it's time he wake up and smell coffee, because they'll be looking for a center fielder, because they do have a strong lineup. From top to bottom, and all of a sudden you have a weak link that's your center fielder. You're going to be out there looking.
Greg, let's take a look. Let's take a walk down memory lane, back to like 1977, 1978, 1979. Prior to you guys competed with the Dodgers, couldn't get over the hump. What was the chemistry like in that squad before you guys had? Like, was there any one leader that stood out, or it's been documented that when Pete Rose came in, he kind of woke you guys up. Explain what was that.
Well, the first year he was there, we didn't win. We didn't win it, so we should have, but we didn't. Obviously, I think one of the things Pete did, without question, was the fact that he made Mike Schmidt realize the type of player he really could be, and he helped Mike out tremendously the years he was there. And obviously, he was MVP of the season, MVP of World Series. So you get one guy like a Mike Schmidt that's in the middle of your lineup that gets very, very hot. He can carry a ball club, and Schmidt had a tremendous, had a good year there, solid year for us, and was hot in the playoffs. But I think it's going to take all 25 guys to win. And you look at 1980 when we finally did win it. Our minor league system helped us out in a lot of ways, with Moreland and Lonnie Smith
Right.
and Marty Bystrom as a pitcher. So it's a case where you're going to use 25 guys and more, and hopefully you're clicking on the same cylinder.
Well, Bull, I got to tell you, 1980 was my senior year in high school. I remember all four of the professional teams in this area went to their respective championships. And
Yeah,
that was an exciting time to be a sports fan in Philadelphia. But I'm looking at your stats. I mean, for a power hitter, look at you. You bat your career average is 276. I mean, that's awesome. Talk about consistency.
I would have been a little better at that, except for the fact that I got hurt a couple of years and had a bad knee, so it hurt me to the fact that I couldn't run as well for a while. But my objective was obviously to put the ball play the game, play it in the middle of the field, and I took pride in trying to drive that run in.
Hey, Bull, one last question before we let you go. Did you see a lot of shifts when you played?
No, there were a few shifts, maybe on a Willie Stargell, Willie McCovey, shifts of that, like that. But
I don't remember. Yeah, because I don't remember you getting shifted on, or even Schmitty. I mean, I don't know. Would you could put the ball in all fields? I mean, would you say you were a pull hitter?
No, well, I think sometimes as your career goes on, you try to hit the situation a little bit more. Especially late in games where you're trying to drive the ball to the ballpark, and you might try to pull a little bit more. But I think the greatest compliments to hitters is when teams play you straight away. It goes to show you that you can spray the ball and you're going to use the field. So that's one of the things that I tried to do. Like I said, that man on second or that man on third, when the pitcher's got 2 outs and they're 1 pitch away from getting out of the inning, you get that base hit. It kind of breaks their backs and it keeps them out there a little bit longer.
Well, I'll tell you what. I want to thank you for the memories that you've given us over the. I mean, I'll never forget that '80 team. It was a lot of fun to watch you and your career. And one of my favorite Phillies, of course, you're down at the ballpark most nights. The fans can come up and talk to you. Bull's Barbecue. How's that going? I was at the game. I was at one game this year, but I have a 4-year-old little girl, and all she wanted to do was play at the that Playhouse. I couldn't get her over to Bull's Barbecue. I got to come over and say hi.
Well, stop by when you get a chance. Bull's Barbecue's now in left field, and again, stop by, say hello. I'm out there most of the time.
All right.
Usually I hang around about the 7th inning, and then I head upstairs a couple suites, and then I make my way home after the game.
All right, Greg Luzinski, thank you so much, Greg, to come. And also talking about Dave Montgomery, he'll be sorely missed, but he gave us a lot. He gave us a lot of great memories with the Philadelphia Phillies, and I want to thank you for sharing that with us.
All right, thank you.
All right, there's Greg Luzinski, a great Philadelphia Philly, 1980 World Series champion. Unbelievable. I'll never forget those times.